Sorry for the long break. I had a couple of unfortunate events, and so I took a much needed vacation. And so I've been catching up with work and life. So, anyway, I'm back. And today we're going to talk about what causes all these different reactions with food allergies, intolerances, and sensitivities. So, with a true allergy, you have a pretty immediate immune response, typically within a few minutes, and it involves an antibody called IgE. And the reactions can be mild or they can be severe. So, some of the things we talked about last time are like hives and itching, or as severe as anaphylaxis. So, these are the most easily identifiable of the types of food reactions because they are so quick. Um, you pretty much know I ate this, I had this reaction immediately after. But then we have a more delayed immune response, and this falls into the intolerance category. And this involves a different type of antibody, IgG, and it can happen up to 48 hours later, maybe even longer in some cases. So it's not as easily identifiable as the allergies, the true allergies. A lot of times an intolerance involves the gut. So your body may have or does have an inability to process certain foods, perhaps because of a lack of enzymes, the bacteria present or not present in your gut. So this usually will cause a lot of the gut responses like nausea, gas, bloating, diarrhea, abdominal pain, all these types of digestive problems. And one of the differences between an IgE response, the true allergy like we talked about, and the intolerances is that the IgE response is not dependent on the quantity of food consumed, whereas an intolerance can be dependent on how much you ate of something. So with the allergy, you will always have a response to that food. And with the intolerance, you may notice that sometimes you have a response and sometimes you don't. And it's not just dependent on the quantity of food you ate, but it may also depend on the amount of stress that your body is already under. That explains why sometimes your reactions are more severe than at other times. Over time, you can cause enough damage to your gut to where you get what's called leaky gut. And so basically the intestinal wall allows these particles or molecules of food to pass through in a state which they should not typically pass through. And they enter your bloodstream, and so your body thinks, oh, we need to attack this. And then you also get autoimmune responses because it causes inflammation to one of your body systems. Maybe it's inflammation in the intestines, maybe it's joint inflammation, or you could even have other types of systemic reactions like with your nervous system. And there are other types of sensitivities that are not usually addressed. So last time I talked about things like panic attacks, depression, behavioral problems. So your body can react to foods much the same way that it reacts to drugs. So drugs are designed to either cause your body to do something or stop your body from doing something. And your body can confuse certain chemical compounds in foods with things like hormones or other chemicals that are responsible for example, mood changes. So to give you an example, I can't eat soy products, anything in the legume family really, because they contain phytoestrogens. And so my body confuses them with hormones. And so it causes a hormonal imbalance. And that's when I get things like panic attacks, severe anxiety, and the mood changes that typically come with hormonal changes. In other situations, those mood changes can be caused by a chemical imbalance. So for me, that comes from things like flaxseed or certain foods that have a certain type of fatty acids. So that's just my case. I'm not saying that's the case with you, but you might want to consider not just the specific food that you notice is a problem, but what family of food does that belong to. You may start to notice kind of a trend where all of these foods cause a certain kind of sensitivity because they share similar characteristics or similar chemical compounds. For example, some people react to vegetables that are in the nightshade family, or some people react to foods that contain salicylates. And so a lot of those foods you normally wouldn't think go together, but they share a certain chemical compound. So that's something to look into. It's not recommended to say you start to notice an intolerance and you know what it is, to continue to consume that food or to think, oh, it's not that bad, because over time the reaction can become more severe, and as you continue to cause more damage to your gut, the more likely you are to develop other food intolerances or sensitivities. And even though it may not feel like it at the moment, you are doing more harm than good to your body. So some of you may be wondering, is it possible to get rid of the food allergies or intolerances? So with a true allergy, typically not. With the intolerances and the sensitivities, for some people it is possible. I'm not going to say it's possible for everyone. Again, I'm not claiming to be a doctor, so I'm just speaking from years of personal research and personal experience that may be helpful to you. There are lots of different diet programs available that claim to be able to help people recover from certain intolerances and sensitivities by promoting wellness in the gut. And then over time, the idea is that your gut gets stronger and you can start reintroducing foods. Not that you'll be able to reintroduce everything, because certain things will always cause damage for certain people. But you may be able to gain back a little bit more freedom with your diet. But it is important to know your own body. With a lot of these diets, I personally can't follow most of them because I am sensitive or allergic to some of the recommended foods, and it would restrict my diet too much. So I have to know what my body does not ever have a reaction to, and know what my body always has a reaction to. So just because a diet plan says a certain food is okay does not mean that it's okay for you. And just because a certain plan may say that a certain food is bad, it may not be bad for you. You might consider leaving it out of your diet for some time until your gut can heal, and then reintroducing certain things. But you're going to have to listen to your own body. And I have to say, consult with your doctor before doing any kind of dietary plan. But in the next few videos, we're going to discuss the most common allergens and where you can find them. Because let's say, for example, you are allergic to corn. Just because you leave corn out of your diet does not mean you're not eating corn that's hidden in other foods. So we'll discuss that. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'd be happy to hear any feedback you have. You never know how your experience might help somebody else. So thank you guys so much for all the participation I've had over the last couple of videos, and for sharing this information. I hope y'all have a great day.